So I was gonna go back to sleep when I saw this article, and I had to make a video on this because it's so ridiculous. The headline, it says I tip at least 15% every chance I get, and here's why I believe all Canadians should do the same. This guy is completely confused about where we are in Canada. I mean, he probably thinks we're part of the United States, right? He'd be watching too many Hollywood movies and he thinks he's in Gotham. Basically, this guy makes an article on how he tips 15% and how he thinks it's a hard job and blah 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 blah. And then but if you go into his bio, this guy graduated in 2020, so he can't be that old, right? And most of the younger people today, first of all, they don't have a life, right? They still live off their parents in one way or another. And rarely any of them actually supports themselves, right? Secondly, this is such a subjective article. What happens is that he's trying to generate a buzz so he gets a reaction so that people start commenting and visiting the site. And then what happens is that's why this company always having some tipping articles, because this generates view and view turns into advertisement money. So this is like ridiculous because they're purposely generating something to get money. So they're trying to brainwash people at the same time they generate money and start a debate. So anyways, it talks about how there's a debate when you should tip, how much is enough, right? And it's gone too far. And he purposely says all this because he wants to start a debate. But anyways, let's go down here. It talks about how customer service is a hard job. First of all jobs have customer service. I mean, not it may not be direct customer service, but all job requires some sort of customer service to make sure the product is complete and pretty much there for the customer, because the product is for the customer and the customer has to pay. So all jobs have customer service in one form or another. Now, customer service is not a hard job. That's why most of the customer service jobs are entry level positions, right? Hard is very subjective, right? You could say customer service is a hard job. I could say doctor is a hard job, right? I mean, come on. Even a doctor needs customer service nowadays too. I mean, they need to deal with the customer. When was the last time you tipped the doctor? Never. When was the last time you tipped the secretary to the doctor? Never. When was the last time you tipped the pharmacist? Never. Right? This guy, is subjectively selecting a job because in the society, right, especially in the American society, somehow you feel like you need to pity the waiter and waitresses because they're making $2.13. But we are not in America. We're in Canada. And, he's trying to push this article so that there's a debate so he could get money. So it kind of makes me feel like those homeless videos, right? Those feeding the homeless. It's like, make sure the camera's rolling. If the camera's not rolling, we're not doing this just yet. All right? When the camera is rolling, let's go feed the homeless. When the camera's not rolling, forget this, right? That's how it is, right? That's how fake these people are, because they want to make sure the camera's rolling when they do this. And when the camera's rolling, then they're ready to do it because they look like the white knight. Here's the thing. People actually fall for it, right? I mean, that's the worst thing in how dumb the society is getting, because they can't even see that anymore. But anyways, customer service is a hard job. It's a lie. I don't know what to say. Hard is very subjective. Like I was saying, being a doctor is hard. Being a lawyer is hard. Being a lot of things is hard too. Because in order to get there, and customer service is not one of those hard things. It's an entry level position. You don't even need a degree, right? You don't need a PhD. You don't even need a freaking high school diploma. All right? So it's not a hard job, and hard is subjective. Anyways, this guy's talking about he can't change the system. Well, first of all, the system shouldn't change. when you want to force people to give you a tip, more money, that's slavery. I mean, I wish I could force people, every single person that watches this video, right, to pay 1 cent. But I guarantee you that nobody would. And that's totally fine with me, right? Because at least you have an option. When you're forcing people to pay everybody that watches a video, I don't know how many videos I watch and how many Google searches I do, but I guarantee you if I had to pay 1 cent for every search I done, every video I watch, I'll probably lose quite a bit of money. Because I search every single day and I don't do one search. I do a million searches. So, you that's like $1 million, right? Even at 1 cent, you're telling me to pay what? 20%? Like of something, what is this? 20% of, let's say, an inflated coffee, right? For a job they're already done? I mean, being paid for is ridiculous. So this guy clearly doesn't know what he's talking about, and then he says he can afford to. And the article is very hilarious because he's gloating the entire article. He's putting himself as a white knight. I'm gonna feed the homeless. Make sure the camera's rolling, right? I mean, if he's not feeding the homeless, right, that's because the camera's not rolling. Anyway, so he can afford to because he probably still lives at home. He doesn't pay the bills. I don't know, but most of the people that could afford to tip, right, there's only two type of people. One, the people that has no responsibilities, which is like this person, which is generally the younger generation that doesn't need to pay for their dying parents. And I guarantee this guy's parents is not dying, right? He doesn't need to care about them. It's like go kill yourself, right? That's how younger generation is, because they only need to care about themselves, right? And then the older generation, so that's the second type of people that can pay for these ridiculous things, which is the older generation, which is getting money from the government. So there's only two things, and they're both subsidized, right? Because when you're younger, your parents are subsidizing for you and doesn't require you to help as much. While when you're older, the government helps you and gives you money. So anyways, now that we're done with that, the white knight, the fake white knight, I want to go over the comments and how the comments, it's great how we have this building community of people that understand what tipping is, that understand we're not in America and that we're in Canada, right? That Canadians are already being paid a good minimum wage, and we're not paying them $2.13. There's a lot of people that likes to say, hey, these people are being paid very little. No, 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 no. I mean, what country are you from again? Oh, yeah, the United States, right? So, there's a big difference here. And don't be confused, because when you're confused with what country you're in, it means you're uneducated, right? That's what it means. Anyways, this girl went to a liquor store, and then she was checking out, and apparently they asked her for a tip. I mean, first of all, as a cashier, you're already paid. I mean, what the hell, right? Why would anybody give you a tip? That it is ridiculous. Now, this reminds me of one thing. You know how when you're checking out, they used to package your grocery for you? They put it in the bag, right? Now they don't. And you're expecting a tip? I mean, first of all, you do less. And you're expecting a tip because they used to package everything into a grocery bag for you. No, now they just push it through a thing. You package it yourself, right? That's how it is, which is, it's like, are you serious? Anyway, so this person is talking about people need to stop telling people what to do, especially this kid that just graduated in 2020 that pretty much still probably live off his parents, right? If not live off his parents, he has basically very little responsibility. Don't tell me you're caring for your dying parents. You're trying to take care of your dying parents or something like that, or paying a mortgage or something along those lines. His responsibility is really one thing: himself. All right. This person says if you could afford to and it makes yourself better, right, you could do it, whatever floats your boat. And honestly speaking, that is the truth. That's why nobody should be telling others what to do. And, this person is saying if you're struggling to afford luxury, maybe you should do a better job of handling your money. Thanks for contributing to the whole tipping problem now. You see, there's a lot of people, right? The Japanese are laughing at the tipping culture of West. It's not even the Japanese. It's the entire West. I mean, the entire Asia. Or actually, let's separate it. The only countries that have a tipping problem is the United States. And Canadians are just confused. I mean, most of UK is not confused. Most of Australia is not confused. So it's not really the Japanese either. I mean, the only people that are confused are Canadians, because we're right above the United States. And, I do agree that there is a minimum wage problem in the United States, but there's no minimum wage problem in Canada. So the only people that are laughing at us, the only people that are not laughing at us, right, is probably the United States. And, those smart people would be laughing at us because the smart people's like, dude, you're in Canada. They get a minimum wage of $15, which is what they were fighting for in the United States, right? The waiters. And that's why there's a tipping culture there. But you're not in the United States. You're in Canada. So why are you even tipping that much, right? So the only people that are not laughing at us is actually your own fellow Canadians. Or uneducated fellow Canadians, because the Americans are probably laughing at us because they're like, you're confused yourself with us, right? Don't be confused, because we're actually paying our minimum wage workers $2.13. And luckily I did my research, so I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so it talks about no tips, blah blah blah. If I get good service, I generally tip. And yeah, that is true. And I do know that this problem of having to tip actually started with me, or not me, but us, my generation, right? I'm slightly older than that guy, but essentially what happened was, when I was younger, generally I'd tip like crazy too. I was living at home, my parents was paying for everything, and I just felt like I needed to have a higher class, so I'm just going to be giving out free money. Nowadays, it's different, right? You start understanding what the world is like, and not what the world was like when my parents was subsidizing for me. So anyways, this person's like, it's you. Hi. You are the problem. It's you. And totally correct. You see, I'm glad Canadians are getting smarter, right? Now, as for the article writer, I feel like they are purposely pushing this to get views. And, it's like, feed the homeless. Make sure the camera's rolling. Right? This person's like, why punish the server? Every restaurant has a tipping structure. If you don't tip us, we have to pay out of our pockets to serve you. Now, this is completely wrong, right? This person, right, doesn't know what she's talking about. And she's a liar, because you're already being paid a minimum wage. And, you're not paying yourself to serve us. You're being paid to serve us already. Right? Anyways, I clicked that thing and now it's gone, unfortunately. I wish I can get back to it, but a lot of people are understanding how this tipping thing works. But there are a few liars that work there. They work there. So they're trying to get more money. So they're online trying to give out these things, right? And trying to steal more money from people, because you're manipulating the truth, right? You're not paying to serve us. You're being paid by the thing, minimum wage, $15.50 to serve us. If you were really paying to serve us, then you wouldn't be working. That's just the truth. And you have a lot of liars out there, so you gotta be careful. But anyways, I found it again, so this is a good thing. But there's a lot of good people that are figuring this out, and I recommend you take a look at the comments. The article's not so much, not worth it. It's garbage, and it's filled with, people that really don't understand what's happening. And of course, nobody, again, tipped the doctor. Nobody tipped the secretary that beamed you into the doctor. Nobody tipped the pharmacist. Nobody tipped the cashier. So stop talking about tipping these things when they're all being paid minimum wage. Nobody is working slave labor here. This is not the United States where they're being paid $2.13.